On a Saturday morning, just past 10 a.m., Terrence Hall adjusted the brim of his baseball cap in the rearview mirror. The man staring back at him was almost unrecognizable. He wasn't the CEO who had built a retail empire serving millions. Instead, he was just a regular guy. His simple hoodie and jeans were a far cry from the tailored suits that had defined his mornings for years. But today wasn't about boardrooms or numbers. It was about stepping into his own stores unnoticed to see how a stranger might experience his vision. Terrence had always believed in the power of connection, that no matter the past, the promise of the present mattered most. However, whispers of dissatisfaction had reached him, suggesting cracks in the very foundation he had built. He found himself outside one of his stores, not the flagship location or the top performing one, but the first store he had ever opened outside his home state, a bold gamble that had paid off. Yet now, years later, he couldn't shake the curiosity. Had the warmth and inclusivity he once envisioned for the store endured? Terrence parked his car and took a deep breath. Anticipation and unease swirled within him. This was a walk into the unknown, stripped of the safety net of his title, to see if his values still carried weight in the business he'd created. As he entered the store, the sun glinted off the bold and familiar logo on the glass storefront. The cool breeze of the air conditioning greeted him, blending with the bustling sounds of shoppers, the squeak of carts, and the excited chatter of children in the toy aisle. Employees in uniforms moved with purpose, restocking shelves, assisting customers, and keeping everything running like clockwork. But Terrence wasn't here to admire efficiency. He wanted to go deeper. Near a display of brightly colored kitchen gadgets, he paused. A young woman in a blazer was chatting with a customer about product features while reorganizing items on a shelf. Her movements were effective but distant, lacking the personal touch he had hoped to see. He then wandered to the electronics section. A young employee stood at the counter, scrolling through his phone. Terrence, carrying a pair of headphones, approached as if contemplating a purchase. "Excuse me," he said, holding up the box. "Could you help me out? Are these good for outdoor use?" The employee barely glanced at the box and shrugged. "I don't know. Probably," he muttered, returning his attention to his phone. Terrence pressed further. "Could you check for me? I'd like to be sure before buying." The employee sighed audibly, grabbed the box, flipped it over, and mumbled, "It says weather resistant here," before handing it back without another word. A knot of frustration tightened in Terrence's stomach. He wanted to believe this was an isolated incident, but he couldn't ignore the unsettling feeling that it might not be. As he moved through the store, he observed interactions closely. In the home goods section, a warm and cheerful Latina employee caught his eye. She greeted him with a genuine smile, offering assistance if he needed it. Her interactions with other customers were equally thoughtful and attentive, providing a stark contrast to what he had experienced earlier. Yet, as Terrence passed by the apparel section, he overheard two employees chatting quietly but disrespectfully about customers. One of them even made a dismissive comment about a customer's appearance, which sent a chill down Terrence's spine. The day had revealed more than he anticipated. While moments of warmth and care still existed, there were undeniable pockets of apathy and disregard within the store's culture. This wasn't just about bad attitudes. It pointed to something more insidious. What Terrence didn't yet realize was that this seemingly ordinary visit would become a turning point, challenging everything he thought he knew about his business.